guys, and welcome back today for a brand new video. We are doing a Colourpop roundup video. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 10 Colourpop eyeshadow palettes. I've been wanting to film this video because I know the holidays are approaching and you might be thinking, what palettes can I get for someone? So this is kind of like my gift guide to Colourpop, if you will. And also just sharing my favorite Colourpop eyeshadow palettes with you. I love the brand. I have so many favorites. So I narrowed it down to my top 10 and we're going to share them in today's video. So I don't have these in any particular order per se, so it's not like a ranking video or anything, but this is definitely like my top 10, and I will let you know like my absolute favorites when we get to that point. But the first one I have for you guys is actually one of their little 4-pan palettes. Actually, I think these are really good. I think that there's definitely a market for these mini palettes. I do think a lot of people are kind of gravitating more towards this more minimalistic collection, if you will, and I think that these palettes are really great quality, and I do think they're good color stories. I think a lot of the color stories they have for these are really just perfect, exactly what you need with 4 shades. So this is one of my favorites. It's called Cream Soda, and I love this one because you get the 4 different colors in here. You have 2 shimmers, 2 mattes, but I feel like both the mattes complement the 2 shimmers really well in this one. Like I said, the color stories, I feel like with a lot of these, they've done them really well as far as that's kind of all you need. So what I do is I go with this in my crease, and then I deepen it up with this, and then I'll go in with either one of the shimmers. Sometimes I use both too because I like that there is a little bit of a deeper and then also more of like a contrast color, so you can kind of use the one for the inner corner and then the full lid. You can mix the two if you want to. I've also just used like one of each of these and then did just a lid color. So whatever you want to do, I think it's actually a really good palette, and they have a lot of different color waves, but this one is by far my favorite for just like an everyday look, and I love this packaging. I know some people find like the clear packaging boring, but I love a good clear packaging. I think there's something so sleek about this, and I love being able to see the front too, because that makes me reach for it a little bit more when I can see the colors inside. Up next, I have one of their newer releases. I really love this palette. This is called the Orchid U Knot palette, and I think this is a really great play on purples, especially if you are someone who doesn't really necessarily like go for deep dark shades very often. This is kind of a fun way to like dip your toes in it. I think that this palette is beautiful. I love these like cranberry slash like plum shades. I think they are so beautiful on the eyes. They're perfect for winter time. This is going to be a great palette for winter because you can get a lot of just like deep vampy looks with this one, but it's not too deep. Like I feel like the looks that I've created with this have been deep, but it's not like something that you look at me and you're like, oh, like I don't love that. I feel like you can get a lot of different looks with this. I particularly love this little purple shade right here in the corner. It's a matte, but it is so special to my collection. I feel like I have a lot of like these dark purples in my collection, so I do think it's unique for that. I do love also that it has that lighter like purple silver color, because I do think that that makes it a little bit more wearable. If you don't want to wear like a deep purple, you can like pair these two together, and it doesn't look as, you know, grungy as it can with some of the other shades. But I think they did a really good job with this one. I really enjoyed these 9-pan palettes, and I love the packaging on this one as well. Okay, the next palette I have for you guys is a larger palette. This is actually one of my favorites, probably like top 3 from Colourpop. This is the Stone Cold Fox. I absolutely love this palette. I am such a lover of cool tones. I love cool toned eyeshadow looks. I have one on today. I just feel like they're really flattering on myself personally. I feel like they're flattering on a lot of people. So a palette like this, I feel like I can look at this. I know exactly what I want to do when I go in here. There's just a lot of different looks you can create, but it's all so similar. You may look at this palette and be like, they all look like the same color, and they kind of do, but they can give a different effect on the eye. And I do feel like a palette like this, especially such a large palette, you really can and can't go wrong with this. I feel like there's so many different looks you can create. Even knowing, like I said, they'll all end up kind of being in that cool tone family, looking similar to each other. It's just, the possibilities are still endless with all the different shimmers in here, and I just think this is a great palette if you are someone who loves cool tones. I highly recommend getting the Stone Cold Fox. I know I got my sister this one and she is like hooked on it, so I definitely think that it's a great palette to add to your collection. And then I had to mention the Going Coconuts palette. This is just a favorite lover of a neutral palette. If you like browns, then you'll really enjoy this one. It's kind of just a basic palette. There's nothing too special when you look at this one. It is just like a brown palette with a couple shimmers, but it's so nice to just go into this again and just know what kind of look you want to create. It's easy. nicely. I love that it's just a 9-pan palette because I am someone who likes a smaller palette, although I love my Stone Cold box. This is just so easy and nice to just grab and know what you're gonna do. What I love in here is that you actually have that deeper brown shade. I like that a lot for deepening my crease suit. That's kind of what I did today. And I feel like it just really adds the dimension. Not every single 9-pan palette has like that deep of a shade, so I do appreciate that that one has this, but they also have these beautiful shimmers in here, and the shimmers are absolutely stunning. I really love this shade right here. It's called De Coco. That one all over the lid is so nice. It gives the perfect amount of reflect, and like I said, these 9-pan palettes are so nice to just go in, know what you want to do, and create a nice look with them. I have a fun palette up next. This is the Sweet Talk. This one is just, there's just something I love about a good like peachy palette, and I think that this one is perfect for this. It screams spring to me every single time it's spring. I like first bust out this palette because I think it's so nice, but I also love the glitter shade in here. I never thought I would be someone to love a glitter shade as much as I love this shade in, what is it called, Prima Drama. It's such a nice glitter. So anytime I want to reach for a glitter, that is what I grab. It's a beautiful like gold champagne color, and I just feel like every single one of these shades complements each other really nicely too. You do have the like the pinks, the corals, but then you have this more like brick red shade that is also really nice to deepen those other shades up with, or you have the matte orange if you want to kind of go a little bit more terracotta with your look. I just think this one's really nicely done, and it does have 2 glitters in it, so it's like, why do I like a palette that has all these glitters? But I actually really like the glitters in here, so I think it's a great one. I know glitters aren't for everyone, but it's kind of a fun palette to have in your collection. Okay, so now we are going a little bit more into my like fun palettes. So I have up next the Tinkerbell. This one quickly became a favorite of mine. I think the quality on this one is amazing. It reminds me of a palette I'll talk about next, but the quality in this palette just seems like, I don't know, like a step up from like their other quality palettes. I love Colourpop as a brand. I think they have really great formulation, but sometimes there's just certain palettes that just like hit differently. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but they're just something special about them, and that is with this palette. I feel that it does do that same thing. I really like this color story. I personally love greens. I think they're so beautiful, and I like that they did the greens in this one, but not overdone. I know you have that one like bright green, but aside from that, you have like this one here, which is like more muted, and then you have this other green, which I feel like is just green enough, but not too green. So I think those are really nice, and I think it's nice that they also included the blues. I think they do complement each other really nice in this one, and I love the 2 matte shades that they picked. This one right here looks a little bit deeper on the eye than it does in the pan. In the pan, it looks a little bit light, but on the eye, it does give some definition. So I think this is a great one. I think the quality, like I said, is amazing on this, and the packaging is too cute. I love Tinkerbell, and I think that this is the cutest packaging. I love that it has like the glitter and everything on it too. I am not a Star Wars fan, so I was like shocked when I ended up loving this. This is the Child, or the Mandalorian Child palette that they came out with. I think that this is the best Colourpop palette that I have. There is, like I was saying, something about this quality of this one is just like beyond the rest of my palettes from them. The shimmers in here are so buttery, so smooth on the eyes, and I just love this color story. I absolutely love greens, like I was saying. This is definitely different than the Tinkerbell palettes because it's more of like your like army greens and like deeper greens, and the other one's a little bit more bright. But every single shade in here complements each other so well. I could literally put every single one of these on my lid and it would end up looking amazing, just because I feel like they all go together so nicely. But one of my favorite shades is the Float Your Crib. It's this deep army green shade. I love this one as well. And the shimmers, like I said, are amazing in here. I don't think there's a shade in here that I don't love on its own, because I think they are so nice. And I know I probably have these in like other palettes, but I'm telling you, there is something about the formulation of this little 9-pan and this little palette that's so cute that I think everyone needs in their collection. All right, I'm gonna go with another large one up next, and similar to the Child palette, this one has some of those greens that I love so much, and this is the It's a Mood palette. This is one that is newer to them, and it is another large palette. I have gotten so much use out of this one, which is funny because when I saw the promos for it, like I thought it looked pretty, but I was like, man, like I could do it with or without it. But this really quickly became a really like staple palette in my collection. I use this all the time. Like I have it in my makeup bag and I'm reaching for it constantly. I love a good matte brown look. It's something I love to do all the time. So this matte brown in here, our deal, is perfect. It's just rich enough for just like all over the lid just to do a matte brown look. It's great for that. But like I said, I love greens. So you do have that nice rich army green shade in here. You have it in a shimmer as well, so that's really nice. And then you have purples, you have the blues. I love the blues that they chose for this because they're not just like intimidating blues. They're definitely more like rich wearable blues. I also love this one. It feels like so pretty as a shimmer. The next one next to it's like a really nice duochrome. And then you still have like your oranges, terracottas, and then you have like this yellow in here. It's just a good thought out palette. I feel like every single one of these like color waves looks really nice. So if you kind of look at it this way, you have like your blues, your purples, your oranges, and then like your light basic shades over here. It just kind of flows, and I feel like you can get so many looks with this palette, and it reminds me a lot of like a lot of the other palettes, just like all in one. So if you don't have a lot of Colourpop in your collection and you're wanting to try some stuff from them, I would recommend getting this palette because you kind of can get a feel for their formula, but then also have so many different color waves to choose from. All right, I just have 2 more palettes left, and the next one I'm going to talk about is the Grendier palette, and this is another one that kind of surprised me. I got this collection and I was like, man, like it kind of looks okay, but I really like this palette. I think it's, again, right down my alley with the browns. It has a lot of browns in here, but you also get this really beautiful blue shade. It kind of reminds me of just like a sunset slash, I mean, sunset doesn't make sense, but like the moon, I don't know, something about this, just like the richness to it. It kind of has like that blue like green shift. It's really pretty. It has a little bit of sparkle in it, just perfect. It does have a glitter in here, but again, it's kind of similar to that glitter in the Sweet Talk palette. I really like it. It's like a gold, and I mean, I like I said, I don't love glitter, but when I reach into these palettes, I like want to use the glitters on them because they're that pretty. So I do really like this one. Again, I can't really say many things about it because, you know, it kind of looks similar to the It's a Mood again, but it's nice. So if you don't want something as large, it kind of has a similar darker, grungier look with this. And then the last palette that I have for you is the Limoncello palette. This is one that I was pleasantly surprised with when I got. First off, the packaging on this is one of my favorite packaging that Colourpop has done. I think it's so beautiful and fun and just like gives a pop. And then the inside of this one, I was just like, when you look at it, you can't help but like smile because it's such a pretty, just like, you know, feel good palette. I feel like I love the yellows in here. I don't have a ton of yellow in my collection, so I love that they included those in here, but you also get that green that is so beautiful. It's in Capri. It's just like, again, a really shimmery, perfect green shade that's not too green, not, you know, green enough. It's perfect, and I love this matte blue shade. This, again, is very unique to my collection. I don't have a lot like it, and this, I did like a halo eye with this mixed with the green, and those two together are like best friends. It looks so good, so I love that. And then again, you get that matte brown in there that I love so much. It's more of like a wine brown, and then you have those easy transition shades. You also have the shade Fly Girl, which is a nice orange. I've done so many looks with this, and every single time I've used it, I've gotten so many compliments of people just asking like what's on my eyes and really enjoying my eye look. So I think this one is a great one, and it's kind of fun. Like I said, it just makes me happy. So after that, that is going to be it for my top 10 Colourpop eyeshadow palettes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to link down below all of the palettes that I did talk about, so if you want to check any of them out, you can. Thank you as always for watching. I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!